other people to sneak in.
Recording in progress.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We'll call the meeting Protection and Policy for Monday, July 22nd. Now it is currently 4:01 p.m. Roll call, let the record reflect that all are present. Take approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. On to approval of the minutes for June 17th, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On to regular business, I'll take a motion to suspend the rules, items 1 through 5 as noted in the agenda.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
1 through 5 or 1 through 10?
Oh, 1 through 10, sorry.
1 through 10. So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Make the motion to approve?
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Okay, just one moment. Okay, I'm ready. If I could just mention, so if anyone was here for a liquor license related matter, they were all just approved in one roll call. So if you were here for liquor, your item was approved. All right.
And just a side note, everything that's discussed today is just a recommendation to common council, which will be next week, Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. All right, on to number 11, consideration possible action on the appeal by Dylan Vanderledge regarding denial of his operator's license. Attorney?
We defer to the police department to let you know why they denied.
All right, please.
Although it's been about 5 years, a little bit more than that, there's automatic denial for a felony conviction, and that conviction occurred in 2018.
Anything else? The gentleman's here, motion to open the floor.
Motion to open the floor.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Come on up. So for the record, state your name and your address.
Dylan Vanderwedge, 2744 Viking Drive, apartment 3C. And then, yeah, I just brought a few things, you know, all my, like, just discharge certificate and stuff, saying that I completed my sentence, completed my supervision time, which was almost 2 years ago, that I completely finished without violation. No new charges or anything like that. And then Judge Walsh was actually super awesome and wrote me a letter of recommendation that I have here too.
I don't know if that was included in the packet.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah. I just picked it up today.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
he's a busy guy, so.
Are you currently employed now?
Yeah, at the bar on Holmgren.
Wow. Did they vouch for you? The ownership?
Yeah, they, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to get like a letter
No,
from
that's up
them.
to you, but we were just wondering.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that wanted me to kind of get it. They'd like me to be able to like be the opening or closing bartender on different days.
Alder?
May I ask, I'm looking at your record, of course. And some of it talks about possession in certain places. Would you be willing to elaborate where these certain places were that brought this statute into mind?
Yeah, so my apartment at the time was within, it wasn't like right next to a school, but there was like I don't know if it was like a preschool or like a daycare or there's something like that within however many miles. I'm not sure exactly what the statute was, but like if your place is within X number of feet of a school, there is that modifier. And it's not like, I wasn't like across the street or anything from it, it was just within that area of my address at that time.
How long have you been employed at the bar?
So the bar, I just switched over to that for, it's coming up on 3 months now. And then before that, most of my bartending experience was at Buffalo Wild Wings. Then I went over to Dave and Buster's with there's just not much business there. And then somebody called me back from the bar, and yeah, it's a nice place. Runs really good. The owners are involved, like managers, so there's a lot more investment in the business by the management than I'm used to. It's because they are owners, so I don't know, it's just a nice place to work.
And you're needing the liquor license because you said something about closing shifts, right?
Yeah, so I would be like, or even like, big concern too, like for if I'm the opening bartender for the lunch shift,
Yeah.
and like the manager needs to go run to the bank or something, then we still have coverage. I don't have to have a manager above me, every minute.
Any other questions?
Have things changed that would help you maintain the path you're on with regard to being different than the path you were on before?
Yeah, I mean, my relationships, just I'm reconnected with my family, and then I have a really awesome girlfriend that I'm coming up on 3 years with. Really close with her family, and that kind of keeps me grounded in a completely different place than I was. I just got back from a week-long camping trip with her family, and that's the 3rd year I've gone on that with them, and it's just, I don't know, my life is unrecognizable from what it was.
Okay, thank you.
No, any other questions?
No, I have a question for law,
Okay.
please.
All right, thank you.
Make a motion to close the floor?
All right, have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay, ayes have it. Okay, floor is now closed. Thank you.
If you want.
Oh, we can keep these forms?
Yeah, I made copies, so
Okay.
yeah, you can hang on to those.
Thank you. All right, your question?
Lieutenant Mahoney, or is it Lieutenant
Yeah.
Sergeant? I don't even know.
Yeah, yes.
I forget. Do you have anything different to say? Is it just, it was near a daycare or something like that? Do you have any knowledge of what that particular,
Nope, we just have the background information of the year that the conviction was taking place, and that's it for details.
and what did you say the last charge was? What year?
It was 2018.
Oh,
2018?
Yes.
2018.
Yep.
Okay.
6 years.
There's,
Any discussion?
I guess 6 years is pretty good, and I do like it that one of our judges has found time to actually print out a letter for the gentleman. I thought that was pretty good, so.
It seems like he's turning his life around.
Yes, I think he is trying to. Hopefully a good woman will do that for you.
Great woman.
Yeah, I guess I would.
And the bar seems to be a good establishment.
Yes, if I was gonna work for a place, it'd be like that. I'd like to make a motion that we,
Motion to approve.
motion to approve his
appeal.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it. Motion's been approved. All right, so it'll go to common council next week for final approval, but we've approved it here.
Cool,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So how do I like get notified of?
So after common council, clerk's office will reach out to you.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll send you an email tomorrow, just highlighting it.
okay, cool. Alright. Am I
You don't
good to
have
go
to.
then?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I only put an hour in the meter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, on to items 12 through 21. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules, take these items up with one roll call vote.
Make a motion to take 12 through 21 as one roll call vote.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay, ayes have it. Motion to approve.
Make the motion to approve items 12 through 21.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. All right, if you're here for the massage establishments, we just approved everything with one roll call vote.
Then I just have a question, do I have to go to a council meeting then as well?
Does she have-
You can if you want to, but I don't think you have to.
It's
No.
not one of those that you have to be present? Thank you.
It would only be if they pull it and decide to have further discussion, which seems unlikely.
It'd be unlikely, I would think.
Yes.
And then could I just make one comment too? Just, I know that this was all new and everything, but from a taxpayer's point, I don't know if you guys were aware that the state re-ups every 2 years on an odd year. Many of us choose to be nationally certified, which I have done for the last 20 years, so I go through the background checks and everything again, that maybe in your discussions when you
Hold
upgrade
on one
this.
second. Should we open the floor for this?
You should. It's
Motion to
just
open the
gonna be a
floor.
longer
Make a
comment.
motion to open the floor.
Second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
So if you could state your name
So
and
I'm
your address
Karen.
for the record.
Karen Moody Pierce,
Okay.
and my business is at 321 St. George Street. So the state licenses every 2 years on the odd years. If you maintain a national certification, which is voluntary, they do it on the even years. So you're getting those background checks on both years. So from a taxpayer's point of view, and going through all this with the police getting involved in doing this, if they're already being cleared on the state level in the odd years, I think it would heat us to maybe think about just having those background checks in the 24. That would catch the people who haven't been licensed. And if there is an issue with an establishment, you can always pull those records from the previous year. It just seems like very redundant. For me now, this will be 3 checks. You know what I'm saying? So it just, as a taxpayer, it just seems if the state is already doing the checks to get the license in the odd year, the city could require it, if you don't have it, to do it in even years. That way you're not doing it every single year. You're saving that money and run around every single year.
So
Just a
there-
thought.
There could be an edit that we could
I mean,
add
it's just a
bullet.
thought.
Yeah, so I think
Okay.
Thank you.
we
All right,
could do
thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your background
comments.
information, yeah.
Ours every
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to make a comment?
Yeah, she applied the business license for massage.
It's approved.
What's the address?
109 South Military.
I don't see 109.
131 South Military and the unit 109.
It was approved.
Yeah, it was
Thank
approved.
you. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I see it, yeah.
Thank you. sir.
Yep, you're welcome.
You bet.
Are ours
Thank you.
every 2 years?
So you're talking about just about the background check, if the ordinance requires a background check every time we renew the license? I'm not sure on that. I think her comment was just about running the background checks.
Right.
Yeah.
We
I'm
can
not
check on
positive.
that.
This is our first year, so we haven't gone through a renewal process yet, but we can check on that. She was just stating, I think, as I understood it, that the state does a background check in the odd years.
Yes.
So we'll follow up on that. Take a
Thank
look
you.
at it.
Thank you. Do we have to close the floor?
No.
Make a motion to close the floor.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
You don't have to answer now. Okay, ready?
Okay, number 22, consideration with possible action, General Ordinance 1324, amending section 24-6 related to firearms. Attorney, come on up.
Are they gonna come up, there's
Sure.
4 of them, or?
Yeah, come on up.
Sure, I'll come up.
Have you guys reviewed? Any questions? Here's the gentleman.
It looks pretty straightforward. Could you
Okay,
just-
yep, good yeah, I was gonna say good afternoon, it's just, this is just to make sure that this is an option. PD, we've been consulted, this is something that they're okay with, taking on this responsibility, looking over these requests. So before it's prohibited.
I have a question. Part of it, in G, it says, with written authorization from the chief of police for the honorary discharge of firearm, using only blanks as a gun salute for ceremonial purposes. Do you think that's really needed? I mean, today, this was probably my second one in the last week where I've been at a funeral for military honors and stuff. I don't know
Yep.
You know, if every funeral home is gonna have to call in the police and ask for written permission from the chief, is that really needed?
Without it, you couldn't do it. So if
So they couldn't do military honors ever,
they couldn't discharge a weapon
yeah. with
in the city of Green Bay.
And they have before, I mean, I know for the 12 years I've been involved.
Alderman Moore, and I could just add that this came up because Commander Moore got a request, and I know the lieutenants are here saying that the police department does get a lot of requests, so they were just kind of like administratively saying, okay, and this just formalizes that process. So I'm not sure if some places weren't calling, but we were actually getting a lot of calls, so we wanted to just document that process.
I think there's information about that. Yeah. appreciate
Yeah, I'm
that
sorry, I
additional
just wanted to
information.
add that the police department was saying, okay, so people were calling to get their permission, but that isn't actually reflected in our ordinance, so we wanted to make sure no one would.
Yeah,
in
I
a
make a
situation
lot
where
of
they would get
calls, but we
cited.
just call to alert them that if people say they hear gunshots, Lieutenant.
And all they're just, in being in law enforcement, we like to be notified, and we have turned somebody down because this past Christmas parade, they wanted to do the 21 gun salute right in the middle of the parade in downtown Green Bay,
Okay.
which we did not think would be a great idea with thousands of people downtown. So that's why we do like to be made aware, so we could say yes, or we could say, no, you can't do it, based on the time frame. That's the
Right.
only time I can remember, but the family was adamant they wanted to do it. And it went all the way up to the chief, and we said
Yeah.
absolutely, the chief and the mayor, and said absolutely not. So it is nice to have in there, so like you said, so if we get calls, we could say, yes, we're aware of it. So if we do get calls, we know it's probably the military honors and not someone shooting.
Do we have penalties for this? Like,
For discharging a firearm
yeah,
in the city?
and if so, who gets the penalty? The funeral home, the military?
Well, no one's been cited now, and if we change this ordinance, hopefully no one will be cited in the future. But if the police department did want to take enforcement, discharging a firearm in the city is an ordinance violation. So likely the person doing it would get a citation.
That'd be the military?
If we were
Because
to
I know
take
in past,
enforcement.
I always call, because I know what it's like. But there's been times I know where I've heard, well, we thought the honor guard would call, and they forgot to. Or a funeral director would forget to, so I just,
I
not,
anticipate if there were situations like that, it would be education to both the funeral home and the honor guard. I know the one downtown, we were working with Newcomer Funeral Home downtown, so they helped us talk to the family. So do I see a sighting right off the bat? Absolutely not. It's more of, hey, if you're gonna do this, here are procedures, work with the funeral home. Yes, if we have repeat offenders, which I can't imagine we ever would, then we might start hitting the enforcement. But it's more educating. They might think it's the right thing to do, but unfortunately in today's world, if people hear gunshots, it could cause some panic. So that's why they're calling. But I don't
I totally
anticipate us
understand, I
writing
just,
the military or the VFW or whoever's doing a citation unless they've been warned repeatedly, hey, you need to notify us, and they just blatantly refuse to.
yeah,
So he works for a funeral home, I work for Newcomer.
great.
So regarding this written authorization, will we be informing the funeral homes that they'll need to be in writing?
Well, they can call, it's our responses in writing, as this is drafted, that we could send
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
No, we certainly
Like,
could.
what would a turnaround time be? Funerals can be really quick, so.
I would assume that
Yeah.
someone at the police department could respond almost immediately.
Yeah, if we get
So she can call
emailed or
the
whatever, asked, I'm assuming an email is as good as writing, we could say we approve, the
Okay.
military honors, including the 21 gun salute or whatever.
So the funeral homes just have to call in? They don't have to draft a letter and saying?
I don't anticipate, no, if they call, that's good.
I say if there is, make sure there's a form letter, so.
You could just call
Yeah.
and get it like an email back.
Something to think about too is communication. I mean, I've done funerals across the street from the courthouse and called the police myself, but all of a sudden courthouse security came scrambling at us with
Of
weapons.
the sheriff's department?
Yes.
If-
No one told the courthouse security.
And I agree, communication could be better in that, we could work on that. If we do know one's happening at St. Willibroad or someplace downtown right by the courthouse,
Yeah.
we'll let the judges and court security know to anticipate hearing.
I know myself now, I call the courthouse security myself to be safe. But I don't think everybody has those phone numbers.
No, and that's something that in community police, we could reach out to the funeral home saying, hey, here's Aaron's, my email or phone number, or contact the police. And also, I guess, be respectful of your surrounding businesses if you can. Here's the courthouse phone number if you're downtown. If there's a school nearby, here's the Green Bay Public Schools, so if all of a sudden they hear shots, that everyone's not on the same page if they hear the rifle salute.
One good thing too to remember to include, if you could, is tell them you dial this number, you push 1, and then you
Yes.
push 8.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're on the phone for quite a while.
Yes, those lovely phone trees.
Yes. Well, thank you.
All right, see, no issues, so a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. All right, on to number 23, consideration of possible action on General Ordinance 1524, amending section 2, 1 to 12, related to the city attorney.
So this one might look a little different than the other ordinances that you see. We have a whereas clause in here, and this is really just kind of give a background of why this is being brought forward now. Just to be clear, the whereas clauses will not be included in the actual ordinance. It's just the ordinance part underneath that will be modified. But I thought it relevant to give a clear understanding of why this change is being brought forward. So, as a public entity, our client is well known. It's the city of Green Bay. So, a lot of departments are understaffed to begin with. So, utilizing collaborative services has been really beneficial to us. And so, this would just be giving that informed consent to council that this is a practice that we benefit from, and just making sure that we're falling in line with all of the applicable rules that govern the lawyers. So, if you go down, you'll see the change here, just providing that informed consent that the city attorney as well as the assistant city attorneys have the ability to use those collaborative services. And if there's any questions about it, I'm happy to answer them, but that's the genesis of it.
I don't know if you can answer this, but what type of consent would you need from
See
one
it?
person?
Could you say that again?
Well, what type of consent would you just need from one person?
What type of consent? Just the written consent, or by being in the ordinance, it is that consent. It's just highlighting in the ordinance that there is consent given there if this is approved. This is also something that would be brought up every time that council, it's going to be part of the training moving forward to each new legislative body for council. Just reiterating that there is that consent out there. So it's always something that could be looked at in the future, but the law department thought it was most responsible to bring it forward in an ordinance rather than a resolution, rather than a policy. So the ordinance is always going to be available.
Would it be beneficial to have it mayor and president of the common council? Because right now it's either or.
Say that part again, which part would...
Oh, this says number C, it says mayor or president can obtain
Last
consent.
sentence.
The last sentence.
Very end.
Yeah, so
Can it be mayor and president, that they both have to give consent?
that is something we could change, yeah. Recognizing that you would just need both to agree, right? So if one disagreed, then it would fail.
Right.
So yeah, that's certainly something that...
It's just keeping both bodies informed of what the other one's doing, so.
Sure, yeah. That is certainly something we can do. Again, this would only be for, this confidential information, right? So generally speaking, it really isn't it's just a caveat toward the end there that if there is something really important, right, that option would be there. That is certainly something we can change. I can make that change for council to make it the and instead of or.
Any questions on that, comments?
No, I agree with that. I saw the and/or and I thought, well, maybe someone would want to release and someone wouldn't.
Yeah.
And this way, I like the idea of both saying, go ahead and release this confidential information.
Right.
What if there's ever like a time sensitivity to the information being released? Is there a way we could put like a time frame on both parties, if it's and both parties coming to an agreement or communicating in a timely fashion?
We can put a time limit on it, yeah. just recognizing that the ordinance, so then we would have to stick with that time frame. So right now, there is be some flexibility, but is there a time frame in mind that you had?
I don't know, I just wouldn't want both parties coming together to an agreement to stifle what could be beneficial, because it says if it would be beneficial to the city. So I wouldn't want like an agreement to stifle that.
48 hours, 24
48
hours?
hours? I feel like 48, 72.
Well, I think we always need one person's permission, but you mean on the and part?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we change it to and,
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
so that.
Error of caution, I just feel like it would be strictly going to the mayor all the time, mayor, mayor, mayor. So this way, common council would be somewhat involved, or the president.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. There's something we can put in there. 48 hours.
Any other amendments? Otherwise, I'd suggest we make a motion to amend it and then approve as amended.
Any other comments? All right, make a motion to amend.
Move to amend with the or going to and within 24 hours,
Or 48.
or 48 hours, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Do we have to approve as amended
As
then?
amended.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Here we go.
Thank you for that update, then. You ready?
All right, so we'll make those changes before council then.
Okay. Number 24, consideration of possible action on General Ordinance 1624, amending Section 232 related to remote attendance at meetings.
So this one is to be more in line with quasi-judicial hearings. We should have the people present for those hearings. They should be in person. People should be able to see who who both sides of the parties are. Currently, that's not the case, so we would like to codify that. And then just also making sure that when council is hearing quasi-judicial hearings, that they're also present for that, to the extent that they haven't already seen the evidence. If the evidence has already been seen, then they could still participate remotely. But we don't anticipate that really being a large chunk of quasi-judicial hearing being brought forward, but just for those limited circumstances, it would be required in-person attendance.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does. What about, like, committee meetings? Does this follow through committee meetings? Like, I don't know if Landmark is included in that.
Yep, so Landmarks Commission and Board of Appeals would be the two that are
Okay.
gonna come to mind right away.
Do we have that sometime?
So,
That's
We do
gonna be,
occasionally have quasi-judicial hearings
Yeah,
on, well, we probably won't have as many going forward
that's true.
because of some of the more recent ordinance changes, but we have had them.
okay, is that typical Landmark? I mean, I view that as almost every item is, because we have to make a ruling for Landmark. And it would be interesting, I guess, does it have to be listed as a open hearing on the agenda item? I guess, I don't know. My question is simply, is every item on Landmark Commission a quasi-judicial item?
generally speaking, yes.
Okay, well, that's gonna be interesting, because no one shows up for those except me and the staff.
Yeah, I think that we need to come back to landmarks a bit about this issue, but in general about how they handle the difference between some of the matters versus some things that are quasi-judicial, but that's been in the works, so.
Okay, well, that's good.
Mhm.
Well, that's good information, okay.
No, and we'll do that soon. It's just, Logan and I are now solely responsible for doing those things, and that's something that Lindsay was working on, so we will certainly come, get to landmarks really quickly to talk to them about that.
Maybe some new members.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Number 25, consideration of possible action on Journal Ordinance 924, an ordinance related to petitions and communications.
So this may look familiar. You did see this last time. If there are any recommended changes, this would be certainly a time that we can make those changes. But it's the same item as was brought up last time.
Yeah, we just held it because we needed to, or I recommended a hold because we needed to finish some internal review, which has all been finished.
That has
An
all been changed.
opportunity
Yep. So,
to
it's
comment,
been-
so unless there's any further, certainly you could make an edit if you wanted to, otherwise, my recommendation is to approve. And like I said, the hold last time was just because we hadn't quite finished an internal review before it made it on the agenda.
Quick question. I heard that there might have been the requirement of 2 alders, a minimum of 2, but I see it's still 1, right? Can make a petition?
For what request? For a petition?
Yeah.
Not a communication? I don't think that section has changed, has it?
Hmm.
All I see is all here.
Yeah, so-
At least, without the sponsorship of at least 1 member of common council.
Okay. You want that to be 2?
Well, I heard that it was gonna be 2, but I see it's still 1. I don't know.
It is still 1, yes.
Okay.
You okay with that?
I guess if staff is okay with it. I
I
did
guess
like
the question, well, the question would be, would it be beneficial to have 2 alders for a petition?
So are you looking at I'm sorry, which section are we talking about? What specific number are you looking at?
Paren 3,
I'm sorry, what?
Paren 3, if I'm in the right
Yep,
thing?
yep.
Okay. Says no ordinance may be
Mhm.
added to any committee agenda without the sponsorship of at least 1 member of common council.
Mm.
And we had started using 2.
We haven't had, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is for
an.
an ordinance. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry. We had started using 2 for an agenda item addition through communication. Like if we wanted to put something on a committee agenda, it used to be you'd have one alder could do that. Now, typically, we've had 2 send the communication.
So,
The
I'm sorry,
reason
I don't
would
think
be
we've
that-
ever required 2 alders, so if you wanted to put something on the protection policy agenda as an example, Alder Hutchinson, you would send that, and then
Right.
Alder Stevens would approve, and that would be the second, or he could put something on himself.
I see.
It's approved, so we haven't required 2.
No, you have
two
not
alders.
required it,
No.
but we had informally been doing it because we heard it's coming down the pike,
Oh,
so.
really? Yeah, I hadn't seen that happening.
Okay.
And I don't think we had communicated that at all.
Yeah, and
So-
just to be clear, this is just for ordinances.
Just for ordinances.
Yep, and it's just 1.
Mhm.
Okay.
But any alder can piggyback with each other
Mhm.
at any time, so.
Yeah, it says it in this.
yeah.
I don't see a problem with it
Okay.
for ordinances.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved.
Thank
All right, we'll make
you.
those changes, but thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, on to informational. The release of 3/2023/2024 Class B liquor and Class Beer license to the pool available liquor license is stated of the business day of July 31st, 2024, due to non-renewal applications filed for the 24-25 license year.
Yes, and in accordance with our ordinance, anytime that we have a license that would be at the rate of just the license fee become available, we just make a public announcement via this meeting as well as council to let the public know. So during the 2023-2024 license year, we had 3 applicants that held those Class B beer and Class B liquor licenses that didn't fail to file a renewal application for this current year that we are in. And therefore, anyone who is interested in a liquor license can come to the clerk's office starting Wednesday, July 31st, and we open at 7:30 a.m. to try to obtain one of those licenses. And once again, the city of Green Bay may only take the number of applications to the number of licenses we have available, and applications are considered to those who apply with a fully completed application and first in time. So that is my announcement.
All right, thank you. Liquor violation report, police department.
From June 12th to July 17th, there's been no updates to give for liquor violations, DA referrals, ordinance violations, warnings, or property referrals. However, we wanted to make sure that the committee was aware of an update that we had. Back on May 28th, we attended and planned a liquor license correction meeting set for Jason Charles, who's the owner of the Getaway Bar. After receiving a certified letter to attend, Jason did not appear and was issued a citation for failure to appear at a correction meeting. We are working on doing a reschedule for that and following our processes, so just to keep you aware in case it ends up coming here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not necessarily a liquor violation report request or ask, but we've seen a lot of these massage establishment licenses come through. Could we perhaps add like an informational item for those to kind of just see where we're at, or if there's any violations of those establishment license? Would that be feasible?
We could probably do it. I can tell you, we're going through, we just completed, that's why you probably saw, we went through and once again educated all the establishments to get their license. Probably next month, we're gonna now start going back through and doing enforcement because it's been on social media. We stopped at every place we could find, so yeah, I'm sure it's possible. I believe the clerk needs to put it on the agenda, but to let you know that we don't have any yet because the actual violation of the new ordinance, we haven't gone back through. We've done our education piece, and now we're gonna be up to the enforcement piece.
Okay.
Would you be able to inform us of who hasn't complied?
That will be difficult
Okay.
because there's no list of places in Green Bay where there's a list of all the massage places. Our community police, we tasked them to going out to as many places they could find in their districts that they're working and talk to them and explain. We gave them the QR code to do it on their phone or what, to apply for it. And then if some pop up, then it's an ongoing process because some might quick pop up and open and we don't realize it, you know, for 2, 3, 4 weeks until we start getting complaints or be like, oh, that wasn't there, and now it's there. So it's really hard to know how many haven't complied because we don't know how many total there are out there.
And our first step, or our first goal is always educational first. So we plan to do that when these new places pop up, go there, educate, have that background, and then enforce after if no action is taken. So we'd be able to document that at that point.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just looking, some of these establishments, like on the liquor violation report, you see some recurring establishments. So is there like a plan in place for enforcement for the licenses we've granted for the massage
Yes, I
establishments?
was just talking to the city attorney since the ordinance is new,
Okay.
kind of like the liquor license, that if we start noticing some popping up for repeated violations,
Okay.
we'll probably be back in front of you seeking either suspension or revocation of their establishment license.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
You might be a good one to go on inspections when they choose to have one. I've done it.
Yep.
All right, thank you for that. Clerk's licensing report.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we have 2 licenses that have been granted but not yet issued. One is for a reserve Class B beer and Class B liquor, which was granted an extension by this council for July 31st. And then we also have one person who has a Class B beer and a Class C wine that is over that 60-day mark. So the clerk's office will be reaching out to try to either have them request an extension or hopefully an issuance of the license.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Not motion to receive and place on file 1 through 3.
Make a motion to receive and place on file.
For a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. On to adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. We're now adjourned.
So what is the status of Our Lady of
Oh, the
Longmont?
gentleman back there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. No, I'm the new community reporter for the Press Gazette. So